actually apply. Then the next one is not very, it's very important, but it's fine. Just other opportunities that you can tap into when you are on, you can look at it as it comes. And the final thing I want to say is make it count. Your research, you're planning to go abroad, and actually when you're abroad, make it count. Some people go abroad, they don't do anything. They're in school, they're not contributing anything. They're not, nobody knows them. It's hard to actually get the job you want. It's hard to actually position yourself afterwards if you don't make it count. Focus on impact, think global and act local, master the art. Why do we keep dreaming big? Because your dream might just come true. And you don't want to blame yourself for dreaming too small. Okay? Pay it forward. Help others, like I always do. Help others. Pay it forward. And actually enjoy your life. Life is too short to just keep pushing. I understand how the society can be, but as you're doing that, and actually maybe after your program, actually enjoy your life, because you can't give what you don't have. If you don't have peace of mind, you can't give peace. If you don't have a solved mental state, you can't give solution to the society. And with that, I want to end my presentation, and that's me just dressing up my Russian friends back then. I tied the gilly, by the way. Yeah. It says, this quote says, tell me the prevailing sentiments that occupy the mindset of the youth today, and I will tell you what the character of the next generation will be. Thank you for listening, and you can catch me with my name, my email, and that's my handle on all social media. Thank you. Sorry, I think we can do better than that.
Yeah, that was quite inspiring. That was quite inspiring, and I must say, Prince has set the pace for today's conversation. The foundation has been well laid, and I'm sure each and every one of us we've gotten good insights from friends today, and not people that are attended only secondary universities. Make sure you also interact, network, ask questions. Some sweets if you want to just get your mouth busy, legs. I will be coming back in the next 15 minutes. By 11:15 we'll convey again, and we'll be having a planning session. We have experts, resource persons here that have been invited to speak to us on the topic for today, and they are very much ready to speak to you at that time. Thank you very much. We'll be going on a quick 15 minutes break. Please, let's stay within the vicinity. Thank you very much. Participating in this raffle draw. Essentially, we want you, like we mentioned in the morning, education pathways at Vesti, which is a start we offer to all audience. Basically, is for you to travel abroad. Every information you need, every hand holding you need from the beginning to the end, we are able to give you such services at a very, very good price, like we mentioned in the morning. If you come to our office in Lagos or in Dallas, it with 1 million naira, but it was discounted 750,000 naira. But for the purpose of this event that you are here, it has been further discounted to 350,000 naira. And what do we require of you? We want you, if you are interested in that particular service, education pathways at Vesti, you just need to make an initial relatives that are standing close to you, and they'll be able to put you through that. Very quickly, I want to call our next exhibitor who will be speaking to us. He's not another person than Mr. Michael King from MK Travels. MK Travels, if you are thinking about Canada, this is the right man for you to listen to right now. Yeah, MK Travels. Please let's give a round of applause.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michael King from MK Travels. Because of time, I will just go through. We are a traveling company that specializes in offering unique and authentic travel experiences to our clients. Our main aim is to make sure you have a very smooth journey migrating from one place to another. And we have different packages, we have different services, we have visa advisory, we have group tours, we have study abroad package, we have migration, we have flight, and we have hotel and accommodation. Then part of our services are, we have this custom travel package. Sometimes last year, June, myself and some group of people traveled 4 countries in 7 days. Yes. How is that possible? Yes, it's possible. 4 countries, 2 African countries and 2 European countries in 7 days. So we have a package that covers that. Then we have accommodation, activities and experiences, group tours. Most especially, our strength is in Canada. Trust me. Either PR, either study route, whatever way, we are there for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Please let me clap for him. He really kept to time. Like, please let me clap for him. All right. Thank you so much. I know we also have our exhibitor from Male Education Consulting, and I know they want to also share a few things within 2 minutes. Let us know. I know they're also going to participate in the panel session, but let's just give them opportunity to talk to us.
Thank you. Everybody has been talking about Canada, UK. We are here to talk about Australia. And it is said that if you get to anywhere in the world and you don't find a Nigerian, just know that place is not fit for living. I want to tell you that many people are now migrating to Australia. In Male Educational Services, we represent, we are international agents to about 15 universities in Australia, the likes of Monash University, Cotton University, Charles Darwin University. Some of these universities, they give scholarship, so you can just meet us at our stand, you know, before you leave. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we are going into our panel session any moment from now, but I want us to do something very interesting. I will be asking a few questions, and I want to see those of us that are really, we talk about global citizenship. I want to see some of us that are really globally conscious or globally say the answers. I'm not getting anybody saying it. So it's UNESCO. How many of us know UNESCO? Yeah, UNESCO. But I really love the attempt. Thank you so much. The next question I want to ask, yeah, someone has said, one of the keynote speaker made mention about this earlier in the day. What is the name of this prestigious scholarship program that allows students from around the world to pursue graduate studies at the University of Oxford? It's quite tricky. At the University of Oxford. What is the name of the prestigious scholarship program that allows students from around the world to pursue graduate studies at the University of Oxford?
I think it's either, my name is Anita, I think it's either Chevy Scholarship or Commonwealth.
Okay. No. Yes, none. There are a lot of scholarships here, you know. There are a lot of scholarships that you can access when you want to study abroad. Any other attempts before I say the answer? Who wants to give it an attempt? Who wants to make an attempt? Maybe I will have the permission of my deputy operations lead to give a gift for this session on the Vesti app. All right. The answer is the Rhodes Scholarship. How many was heard of that before? Really, being wonderful, composed, polished, and well behaved since we started this session. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I want to welcome us back again to this segment of the International Education Fair. Today we have the privilege of hosting a panel of exceptional individuals who have dedicated their careers to empowering individuals across the globe through education. Our panelists represent a diverse range of backgrounds, experiences and perspectives, all of which are vital in understanding the challenges and opportunities facing education today. With their collective expertise, they will provide insights into the key issues and innovative solutions that are driving education forward in the 21st century. Ladies and gentlemen, our panelists have all played instrumental roles in shaping the landscape of education in their respective fields. They bring in a wealth of knowledge and expertise to our discussion today, and I have no doubt that their insights will inspire and inform us all. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to our esteemed panelists at this International Education Fair. Our first panelist, member of the panelist today is Mr. Joshua Adedeji. He is a development professional with more than 10 years of active engagements across African markets.
The founders of Empower, they were sometime international students, and when they go there, they see some of these challenges the international students, and we look at how can we actually solve some of these challenges. When you look at some other loan companies perhaps abroad, they ask for a lot of things in terms of collaterals or co-signers. They'll ask you to get someone who is a citizen in the US or somewhere to actually sign for you that I know this person and I'm going to stand for the person. But it's a big challenge, for international students, especially when you don't have a family over there. And what Empower has done is to say, given that this founder also went through these challenges, that how can we solve this challenge? And which was why they started that facility where you can get, loan without any collateral, and of course without any form of co-signer. The only thing you need is yourself. And when I say yourself, we have an algorithm that actually look at your future earning potential. Some people will apply, with some sorry, am I taking much? Perhaps there's a question coming to that.
So actually, I love how you're addressing it already. I was going to come back to the innovative financing solutions, but I can see you emerging both the challenges and the solutions to the challenges, and that is quite profound. So I'll just allow you.
Okay, let me just take 1 minute more, and perhaps if we need to go deeper into it, I can come back. So what we look out for is what are you going to study? How does it benefit the country you're going for? Are you going to be able to pay back? So you have to look critically to say, okay, I'm going to US, I'm going to Canada. We from our algorithm we've processed to say, okay, in the US, STEM courses, medical courses, several others are actually, well known, and it's of economic value to the country. So we know that if you school and you take a loan, you're going to be able to pay back, when you have to pay back. So, but there are some courses that are more beneficial to some other country. I don't want to mention any course, but perhaps more beneficial to another country than a country you are looking out for. So the only thing that we look out for is you. How would you be able to pay back? What's your future earning potential? And that's the solution we have provided. Not just Empower, there are a couple of other opportunities online, but like I said, access to information as a challenge. You need to solve it by yourself with your phone, all the information you need, with Vesti and other education companies that you have around. And of course, also find a way to talk to people, talk to other partners, financing companies, how you can meet your financial challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joshua. Yeah, please let's give a round of applause. Let's give a round of applause. Yeah. So the next question I want to ask now, ask Ms. Olubumi Okpadoi, who is the one that really handles conversations on education pathways here at Vesti, and I just want her to shed more light to this question. I know before now we have a lot of traditional ways that people go about migration, how people deal with it, but I see Vesti is really leveraging technology to really streamline these migration processes. So I really want you to really shed more light to that. Let's really enlighten and get some insight about how are we using how can we use technology to streamline the migration process for international students. What are those outstanding migration fintech technology solutions that are very, very visible right now that people watching us, people here right there can leverage on? Can you just give us some insights on that?
Okay. Thank you very much. I think in the beginning you mentioned the archaic way of getting an admission, having to write a letter, an uncle helping to follow up outside the country. But thankfully, Mr. Joshua mentioned a key thing: access to information. But here I will mention access to the right information, because there is some information that you get but they're not useful for you. So you can just keep taking in all of the information and you don't know which one is tailor-suited to what you need. And he also asked the question, what do you need? Also at Vesti we help solve that by creating pathways. That's where you have pathways to different countries. The first thing is, okay, what do I want? You ask yourself, I want to study this. Where do I want to go to? When you know the country you want to go to, then you start to seek information. Now, if you now want tailored information for you, you seek, I don't want to use the word agents, but you seek bodies that can give you what you want. There are a lot of bodies out there that will give you all of this information as gathered, but none of them would actually recommend what is best for you. I've had a lot of people so many times. Okay, I would use an example here. A month ago, someone reached out to the company and wanted to go for animal nutrition or agric business. I'm sorry, I'm using this as an example. And while talking to him, I found out that he had been in the business development space for a bit. So he had experience in that, and he was thinking because he had undergraduate study in animal nutrition, it would be best fit for him to actually go for animal nutrition or agric business. Do not forget that there are key things that are needed when you're applying, not just what you studied undergrad, but what is your passion? How are you going to be of value? The keynote speaker mentioned something that was very key in everything. You have to be of value to the society, the one you're coming from and where you are going to. So you need to think from here, how do I add value? And well, after talking to him, I told him, you have experience in business development, you have a tailored resume. Why don't we go for this particular course? Ladies and gentlemen, this man had an admission in 72 hours in the United States of America, which is very, very hard. That is because he had what was needed at the time, and he could tailor to his statement of purpose to what he would be of. It was very easy for him to write that because it was what he was looking forward to do and what he had been doing. So you need to, your resume also is very, very important. The keynote speaker also mentioned, nobody tells your story better than you. So even if they're going to tell the story for you, please have a body of that story. That's why we at Vesti, we are there. We're a concierge service, a hand holding from the very start till you're settled. A lot of this information might be juggled, but you need the right one that is tailored to. Now, how is technology doing that? Vesti has built an app with pathways that are best for you. If you go on the Vesti app right now, you go on pathways, you will see to different countries. You will see the one to the US, you will see to Canada, you will see to the UK. And you can also, of course, you can also reach out to anyone for the countries that are best for you, and they will be giving you what is aligned to yours.
All right, let's clap for her. That's very good. Thank you so much. Personally, I think one of the things that has stood out for me in the whole Vesti story and how Vesti has evolved over the years is the fact that for the very first time, people like you, I can now visualize a migration journey from the beginning. Like you can see how you are starting, where you are on each journey. As you are progressing, you can visualize that journey for the very first time. Before now, you have people that
they want to pursue a particular pathway, and they're on that pathway, they are on it for months, for years, they are not making headway. But on the Vesti app, when you sign up and you see that, oh, this is the pathway I want to pursue, oh, I'm going through the Canadian permanent residency, oh, I'm going through the study abroad option, and from the very first day you make that decision and you sign up on that, you're able to go on a step-by-step process, and you're able to see, oh, this is the stage where I am now, this is the next stage. You can visualize it, and you know the end from the very beginning, and that is very, very good. I want to come to Prince Louis. I know you really spoke extensively during the keynote speech, and this is even tapping more into your words of experience because this was not part of the conversation from the beginning. But I know there's so much that you have to share that we cannot just allow you to just sit down among the audience, right? Yeah. So basically, I know you have a lot of experiences, even beyond Nigeria, even as an international student. You've acclimatized with people from different walks of life. You've interacted with different people, different persons from different races. You've been in a classroom of people not just from Nigeria, but from different locations, different countries, and something must have helped you all through that process. You know, people want to travel abroad, but they don't know that the realities over there are quite different from the realities in Nigeria. So the question I want to ask is, how can we build a supportive community for international students, and what role can mentorship and cultural integration programs play? Like, we need to really there are a lot of international students out there, or they are intending international students, and they'll be joining this backload of people out there that are international students, and we need to realize that there's need to really create a community of these international students that integrates them properly into the system. They are culturally fit, they can really coexist with people. So how can we build that supportive community for international students?
Excellent. Thank you for asking that question, and it's very fitting for me because I can answer from two different perspectives. One is in the angle of what the universities are doing, because who creates this kind of enabling environment for the international students are the institutions, okay, and the government, or wherever you get to. And then I can also answer from the perspective of an international student, because sometimes, you know, when opportunities are available, sometimes we don't tap into them because we shy away from it. Mr. Joshua was talking and said it's your right to travel, but not everybody will travel in their life, because some people are comfortable, they're complacent with where they are, you understand? And she was talking about having the right information. So let's start from the angle of the universities. Most times universities are very intentional. I'm going to try to choose the right words because I work for a university. But many universities are very intentional about, you know, creating that environment for institutions. It plays many roles, as many things in life. An example is at Sussex, for example, we have the Sussex Nigerian Society, which is very, very robust. You know, it's like home away from home. When I started studying, my first jollof fries, my first duvet, my first winter jacket, which I didn't use, was from the society. You know, I just met the president and I was like, oh, hey, my wife made jollof rice, do you want? I'm like, yes, please. And, you know, that's very helpful, because then we can have jolly hours, and then we're coming to throw banters, and, you know, ring curses and some people that are not doing well in the country. And, you know, just encourage ourselves, you know, to make sure that we have good experience on campus. We also have, like, universities also have events that allow the international students to be very comfortable. Like, I'll use my name again, we have something called the One World Sussex. So it's a week-long activity that allows students from different countries to show their culture and exchange and all of that. These are some of the examples that the institutions put in place. In our case, we also have, this is very similar to many universities, they allow you to compete for student union roles. You can go for a master's and apply for contest for student union roles, ambassadors roles, and that's great. It's different from when you are in Nigerian Public University and you have to post banners, you have to canvas. Your canvas is the same model, right? But it just gives you that different perspective to student unionism, right? And I was a international student ambassador. I didn't do politics, but I did the appointment roles, right? So now that's the part of the institutions, and the institutions have to do more of that, because when people travel to different countries, you need as much support as you can get. And I'll tell you something for a fact. It's easy for us to say, come and study in the UK, come and study in America. It's hard. Okay, it's hard to actually study in these countries. Because, for example, if that didn't land well, I thought you were going to smile or laugh, like, oh, it's hard. But the truth is that it's actually, in Nigeria, we are used to going to class, taking our materials, reading for exam. In these countries, you read for each class. So you can read up to 13.
Example, just recently, US began to, in fact, we are also even going to be doing that, even for those who don't have degree. So we are going to start that soon, that can actually take some program in nursing, because there's deficit of, people in nursing, care job and all that. And some of the university are actually doing some accelerated nursing program, which we are also open to lash on. So one thing is, the program has to be of economic value. And we've seen, the reason why I said STEM is because we've seen higher, it's based on data, higher success rate, for STEM, for medical and some other programs. But if you have any programs you're going to that doesn't fall within STEM, I want to say that, do you have experience locally? Because that's other thing that will help you to actually get a job, easily. So perhaps you have some years of experience in your home country, and you're taking there, that you are not an entry level person that is still looking for a job, that also helps. So I will encourage you, there's no one way to it. So the STEM I've mentioned is just, it's the system easily prioritizes them because it's not human anyway. But if you're going for other programs that doesn't fall within that range, it doesn't mean it won't take it, because there are a couple of criteria that are there. But one thing that's worked with for others, it's been when you have other experience, locally, that actually help you to get into the pool. So that's it. So we prioritize all programs, but we're all less. And like I said, very risky one. So we need to be sure that where we are putting the money is going to come back. So that's it. But to your question, in terms of the percent we have, so number one, let me say, N-Power, out of other company, we don't charge any service fee. To say, okay, process, there's not that. That does not mean when you go to partner who are going to provide you with service from start to finish. We have a couple of partners who have what they charge to actually help you put in for application. But in terms of N-Power, there's no 5% or 2% kind of fee that you pay. So on the loan, it's 12.99, which was the recent interest, and it's also fixed in the sense that no matter what the economy look like, the inflation looks like, in many years to come, it doesn't change. For other loan facility, as the inflation gets higher, like, your interest will also change. So this is going to be fixed, and it's over a period of 10 years. And there are other things that we now have in terms of program. For example, after your school, if you automate your payment, if you perhaps say, okay, you want to automate your payment, it's actually give you like a 0.5, what do I want to put it now, like discounts. And there are also programs that we have that can even bring your interest down to like 11.5 or even 11%. So, but the primary rate is actually 12.99, and you can pay over a period of 10 years. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. So we just take final words from everyone here.
Okay. I think when he was talking about the definition of a global citizen, I was going to add that for me, I think the idea of global citizenship is making sure that your ideologies, your knowledge, the knowledge that you acquire, the person that you're becoming transcends your immediate environment, right? So be a person of value wherever you are. There is no right or wrong timing to become a global citizen in whatever form, right? It's not just traveling abroad to go to school that makes you a global citizen. Like we said, it starts in the mind. It starts in the things that you start to do wherever you are, right? A lot of people will try to go to school this year and it won't work, and they'll be frustrated. But that's not the time to be frustrated. It's the time to put back your energy into, getting experience, regardless of where you are. So you get work experience. If you don't get into school, get a job. But make sure that your mind is set on the goal, right? You're not giving up, like he said. A couple of us who schooled abroad and came back, and people go, "Where did you come back? Where did you come back?" I'm like, is it you're coming back? But I came back and I tell someone something. I said in the UK, I'd applied for certain opportunities. I did an internship, yes, but I didn't get a job. But I came back to Nigeria and I got a job with Microsoft. That's a global company. That's how I leveled up, right? I couldn't have gotten it if I was in the UK at the time, and now I can go to the. So my point is, don't be fixed on the how. You know what you want to achieve. You know who you want to become. Keep taking steps to get there. If you get a no, you move another direction. If you get a no here, go another way. But you know that the goal is you're globally minded. You want to travel the world. You want to become a person of value, no matter where you are. And I think that's just how to approach it, right? Whether it's education. Some people today that I know, my friend here, Francis, he's no longer in Nigeria, but that's not how he started, right? So some people go through business, some people go through school, some people go through relocating their family, some people go through different routes to this thing. So as you try education, keep looking into other parts of your life as well to add value regardless. Thank you.
In Mel, our strength really is for Australia and New Zealand. Even though we do other countries, if you come to us, you want us to apply for UK schools, Canada schools, we can as well. If you go to most of the websites of the top universities in Australia, you will see numbers there. They will refer you to Mel. So apart from the major challenge of finance when it comes to studying abroad, getting the right agent is also a challenge. You have to be sure that you are talking to the right person that is competent, in that field, so that you don't waste your time. Very, 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 very important. For this event, we have a special promo, and we are saying if you are interested in studying in any of those universities we've mentioned, if you give us all your documents before the end of the month, then our processing fee is going to be free. Just mention Vesti hashtag as the code. So if you send all your documents to us, then processing fee is going to be free. So that's what we have for this event. So as I said earlier, Australia is open. All the universities are now asking Nigerians to come over. Some of their advantages: you have 4 years post graduate visa. That's for BSc. Then for your masters it's 5 years. For PhD it's 6 years. So if a country say you can stay in my country for 6 years after your studies, I think they are generous enough. So those are parts of the advantages. And you can also work as you are studying. You have 48. You can work for 48 hours in a fortnight. That's about 24 hours a week. So those are all the advantages of studying in Australia. And I said earlier, cost of living in Australia quite cheap. not in quotes as against the likes of UK and even schools. You and I, know how much it is to get pounds. Presently, pounds is about on the streets about 900. Thank you, 920 to £1. And here we're talking about Australian dollars. So you can easily achieve the same goal, by going to Australia. Thank you.
Thank you so much. The way she speaks so passionately about Australia, yeah, interesting. Okay, please, Olubumi, yeah.
All right, so I'm going to come from an angle of someone that spoke to me earlier. She asked the question, she said, I mentioned postgraduate instead of masters. A lot of people these days, you want to migrate, they feel abroad is for people that want to do masters or undergraduate. But I tell people that there are other pathways. I have someone that was 40 years old, had certifications, had his resume all tailored, and he was given an undergraduate study still. He also got diploma admissions. So you don't know what is best tailored for you until you have someone handholding you. That is what we are here for. You don't know what country is even best for what you have to offer. A lot of people, I've seen someone tell me, I want cybersecurity in Canada or in UK, when you have a global market in the United States. So like, you know, to get empowered, they tell you they look at the future earnings. So you need to know what country is best for me. What am I passionate about? What do I want to do? Now, as you're accessing the information, please know that there is a right information for you. And as there is a right information for you, there are the right parties that will tell you what is right for what you have at the moment. And please take note, I will say this, there is always something for where you are. Right now, there is always a pathway. If you can't afford this, there is always a pathway to get there. So if they are charging at this rate for this, why not take this step to get to where you are? What matters, like she said, is the goal. You have the value, you have the passion, you look at the goal. If this path isn't taking me there, there is another pathway to take me there. That's why at Vesti, I said with technologies, it brought you closer, but with Vesti, it gave you clarity. You know that this is the next stage for me to do, and these are the parties doing that for me. And like I said earlier, if you're thinking global opportunities, you're thinking migration, I think the best part to think is Vesti. And we're not limited to just one country. We have access to about 54 countries around the world. So you want any information, I'll be right here to answer your questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Ms.
I'm sorry. Also, as Mel had for this program, we also had a discount for this. Normally our handholding service has a charge, but for this particular program we brought everything down by 70%. You were going to know the rate. If you reach out to us, you know the rate, and you will know what it takes to actually get into the service. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Just to add to that, for this International Education Fair, there is a raffle draw ongoing, and like I mentioned earlier, if you were to access that particular service in our office in Nigeria or in Dallas, it's 1 million naira for the education pathway service. However, it's been discounted to about 750,000 naira. But for the purpose of this International Education Fair, it was further discounted to 350,000 naira. And to participate in that raffle draw, all you need to do is to make a minimum deposit right here at this fair between 30 to 50,000 naira, and you'll be able to participate in the raffle draw. And the raffle draw is a free flight ticket to your destination country. So please take advantage of this opportunity right now. And once again, I want to appreciate and especially thank all our resource persons and facilitators for today's International Education Fair, starting with our keynote speaker who spoke with us earlier, and our panelists for this session. Actually, we truly appreciate you for the quality time that you've spent with us. Please, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. All right, thank you. We can do better than that. All right, we have our partners here, our exhibitor from MK Travels. They are right here. Please, you can always walk up to them to ask them questions. We also still have our partners from Male Education Services Limited here. They will also do well to answer your questions. If you have questions, they are still here. So basically, we are coming to the end of today's this afternoon session, but we want to give room. We'll just go on a short break, Then we'll come back and we close out finally. Please, we want you to network, interact, ask questions, meet people. You don't know who's sitting beside you. You don't know where you meet that person again. Walk up to any of the Vesti officials and ask them questions about our services. We'll do well to serve you and answer your questions and meet your required needs. Our exhibitors are right there at their various stands. Please do want to walk up to them and ask them specific questions. In the next 10 minutes, we'll convey and we'll close out the session. Thank you so much.
Effects, affecting the GDP of the country, and this helps, global economy, not just the economy of your country. It helps global economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Modupe. Thank you so much. Please, we can do better than that if we want to clap for her. Yeah. Thank you. I want to go to Mr. Joshua Adedeji right now. I know recently Vesti signed a partnership with Empower Financing in giving student loan to young people that want to travel, particularly to Canada and to United States of America. And I know this is something that Empower has been really pushing, particularly in Africa and even now to Nigeria, to really give people such access that, you want to travel abroad, paying your tuition is a challenge. It shouldn't be a challenge. You can actually access student loan. I want you to really speak to that, and also, of course, speak more on the innovative financing solutions that Empower with Vesti is giving to people at this time here.
All right, thanks so much for that. So talking about, I'll start with the second one, innovative financing solution, and I think it's for us it's a cultural thing, where when you hear about loan or credit, the first thing you do, you want to run. So like we said about some of the countries you are going, they are all credit societies, where you need to actually, start building. I'm not saying you should go for. I'm not saying you have to go for it. But what I'm saying is, no matter how you want to go about it, there are places where when you want to live, you need to build your credit worthiness, to an extent. And that's what some of these solutions do for you. So you need to look at financing, not just by, I want to go all out and drain myself or do this. You need to have that mentality of blending, more like a blended finance, to say, okay, you talk to friends and family, or yourself, this is how much I have in my account, this is how much my parent can offer, and this is how much I can access, from other sources. You don't have to overly stress yourself, because there are some things, for those who have lived abroad, there are some things that you even want to do that when they check your credit rating, when you not amass enough credit rating, you can't even buy them. There are some things that you can't, as a young person, with limited, you can't just drop all the money. You can't just drop like 300,000. That I want to buy a house. They have to check you. Where are you coming from? What's happening? Where do you get the money from? But you need to build your credit. And if you go for some of these opportunities that are available with Vesti, with Empower, you start building that credit worthiness. And when you start integrating into those societies, like, it makes it easy for you to actually access. So you are getting multiple benefits, not just about financing your education, but also building for the future, especially if you intend to integrate into some of these countries. So that's what it will do for you. So you need to think innovative way to say, okay, how can I without stress actually get money, from various sources, from my personal financing, from my family, from friends, and of course look at the, some of the loan opportunity. But of course, when you're looking at loan, you have to, open your eyes to say there are some things you need to check. How long will it take you to pay back? For example, Empower takes about 10 years to pay back, on the principal. You need to know, how can I spread this over this period of 10 years? You need to look at, and that's why it's important to talk to, there's some things when you go directly to Empower you might not get, because the staff bandwidth is also limited. But that's why you talk to Vesti as an intermediary to say, okay, what are some of the things that we need to know? So that's about innovative financing. But going into Empower, itself. I think it is important in a way, because since we've been working with Vesti and some other partner, it makes it easy. What we try to do is to create that pathway for you to access, the right financing. We kept using that word, the right financing for your education. And we also have a risk appetite. I mentioned earlier that we don't take collaterals, we don't take co-signer. But of course, we can't go all out. We need to know who you are. And we provide, between 2,000 to 100,000 USD, for your education. So you are going for a course, and note that also includes your living expense. So you can include, when you're requesting for loan, you can include your living expenses into it. But there are a couple of things that we need to check. If you come and you asking for 90K, I will look at my risk appetite. The course you're going for maybe a course that can't really, that, because you said that about nutrition. So when I look at, even some of you can do it yourself before you go apply, go Glassdoor, a couple of other things to say how much do people in this field, how much do they earn, as a person, information available. And that's one thing, that the developer will ever have built into the system. They can easily know when you are even inputting your information to say you're going for this course, how much can you earn, and they can know you pay this time, you can't afford to pay, this 100K that you are asking for, and this how much we can offer you. You ask for 100K, we can say we can offer you more than 50K, and then you need to source for others. That's where other sources now have to come in, your family and friends and all that. But it doesn't mean you can't get everything if you can actually prove that you are able to pay. They also might want to check your account to see how have you done, before now, in terms of finances. Some of us, we don't even build, that relationship with banks and all that. You do cash transfer everywhere. Nothing is shown in your account that money comes in, money goes out. Some of us supposed to take a job where they pay you in cash and you don't pay it to your account. Nothing is showing that you have this, credibility. And like I said, that's why commercial banks in Nigeria will not give loan, because they just don't trust you. And those that will give you, some of these other platforms, which are not so innovative, they will hold you in the jugular to say, okay, these are the things that we need, to disgrace people, and they know we have a culture that you don't want to be disgraced. And you need to think about, now there are companies that are coming, like Vesti, Empower, and a couple of others, with innovative way to support you, in terms of this journey, and how can you actually, benefit from that. And how do we do that? Even the money that Empower raises itself, it's not just, in terms of from traditional capital, so it's blended as well, from a social capital, to traditional, so which makes them, it gives them that flexibility to take some risk. And you will ask me, do people pay back? Of course, people pay back. We've not really seen high level of, defaulters, in a way, because the relationship we build with people, with partners and other people, makes it really work. So one thing I will say is, like where I started from, you don't need, to stress yourself, especially when you have the right course you want to study, like she mentioned, that's related to your experience, and you have, like, that's, how do I want to put it, in terms of, to the economy of the country you're going to, you are valuable to that economy. That's what everyone is saying. There are a couple of other services that Vesti, provide, like the O1 visa, like everyone, the NIW as well. All these countries, they are looking for how valuable you are, what are you going to contribute. We have some people that don't even go to education routes, they go through a national interest waiver. They want to see, can we waive, when you come to this country, are you going to add value to us, or you're going to become a liability to the country and start running? Sometimes when I go to US and you see a lot of people just running from one pillar to post, without actually mapping, their trajectory. So it's really sad. So one thing they are looking for is, are you going to add value to this country? And if that's your case, go forward, talk to Vesti, apply for Empower loan, get your quotation from the school. This is how much the school will cost you per year. We also do maximum of 2 years, so that's what I should mention. You can do 1 year or maximum of 2 years, so it's really ideal for those going for a master's program. But if you are going for like PhD, that will only happen perhaps if you started in the country and you want to transfer, because we can only fund the last 2 years. Or if you're doing your first degree, it can also form the last 2 years of your program. So you can't get the entire 4 years, because we want to also start, paying back easily. So the summary of what I've said is, you need to get yourself together, know what value you're going to be adding, and of course be able to pitch yourself, for some of these companies like Empower and others, and you get the right. Financing shouldn't be the barrier at all, for anybody. There are lots of opportunity out there, and Empower is one of them that's interesting. Vesti have the whole program, and there are a couple of others, and you can know some of these when you talk to education, talk to Vesti and others to learn more. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been quite an interesting session. At this point, I want to, before I go back to them to give us their final words, I want to ask if you have questions. I think we can just take like 1 or 2 questions here. I can see a hand here. Yeah, okay. Just the ladies are asking questions. Interesting. All right, another person here, and I think that will be all. So 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Anita. I want to ask a question based on what the lady from Merrill, Education Services said. You talked about education enhancing social status. That's true. I'm a teacher, and it's funny when I hear students saying, maybe I'm teaching a student that is not doing well, and I'm trying to encourage this person that you need to work hard, you need to study. And this person is telling me, but ma, my daddy is rich. That can afford anything. Ma, I don't need to read. I have a student like that. I keep saying, ma, I don't like reading. I have to find ways to make him enjoy reading. So there was a day I was teaching him Macbeth, Shakespeare's Macbeth, and I said, okay, let's act it. And then we started acting it. And this was a lesson. So there's a problem in our society whereby people in power, people that speak and people listen to them, they don't really have value for education. I'm sorry to put it that way. But if we look at people at the top in Nigeria now, people that command respect, not all of them place value on education. The ASU strike took how many months? And life was going on. Students were at home for months, So it's a problem, and then I wonder, where is the education system going in Nigeria? If a child of 13 years can tell me, my daddy can buy me anything, my mommy can buy me what I want, and those parents are not really educated. So what's the yardstick, and how would you respond to that? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's make our questions very brief. Please, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Jennifer. I'll be directing my question to Mr. Joshua. I just want to ask, is there a specific reason why Empower doesn't finance for European studies? Like, you want to study in Europe, and then is there a particular reason why they don't finance those countries? Or are you planning to in future? Because I'm here for that purpose actually. So that's why I'm tackling the question. I'm directing it back to you. So, because I recently got an admission somewhere in Europe. So I just want to know why Empower doesn't finance those kind of things. Thank you.
That's a very smart question to ask, Mr. Joshua. All right.
Good morning. I'm Alvin Peterson. Thank you so very much for putting this together. I think she has actually done justice to my second question. Whenever we hear Empower, it's always Canada, US, nothing like Europe, not even our colonial United Kingdom. So that being said, yes, education doing a whole lot, I'm bringing that to you. So whenever we come in gathering, we always see a lot of people doing very well, Nigerians, so to say. So my question is, what's happening to us in that regards? A lot of us have gone out and are doing so very well. So if in context, education is supposed to open us up, give us the right mentality, the right approach, the right thoughts, processes and everything to improve the economy for development. So what's happening to the Nigerian system presently? What's not making us meet up at that global standards? That's my question.
Okay, as we're taking the questions, we've taken notes of the questions, right? Then I will just take our final words together, questions, so that we end the session. All right. Yeah, final word.
Do I start from maybe the last question? Sorry, can you repeat the last thing you said? I didn't really. Okay, fine. Now, okay. So, okay, why are we not there? Why are we not seeing the positive effects of education on our economy? You and I, we all know the problem we have in Nigeria. The major problem is corruption. That is the truth. The budget for 2023 budget for Nigeria for this year, for 2023, I think it's about 21 point something trillion, and UNICEF recommended that 1.9, that's 88.8% of it should be for education. But find out it's just about what they have, what they marked for education is just about maybe 5%. And if you look at that budget, you see recurrent expenditure, money for cars, money for housing, money for changing cars, So, but the truth is, we might not really see the effects now, but I tell you, very soon, in the nearest future, I'm very positive about that we will start to see the effect of this education. I don't go anywhere in the world, Nigerians are making waves. Best doctors in the US, Nigerians. Go to England, they are taking over all the IT companies, even in England. Recently I was told a young guy that left here, traveled abroad, he got there after schooling, he got this job, and the company said, don't worry, once you finish your residency, your everything, we take care of it, because it's good, they are competent. So let's continue to education. It improves human development. There's no doubt about that. For that to my young lady as well, for that young student or wherever, the 13-year-old, that's teaching. I don't know where she got that from. I think the parents, they need to do a lot. Because education doesn't even start from the schools, from the home. And for that child to be talking like that, as based on what he or she feels that education is not important. At the end of the day, that child might not go far. That is the truth. Because by the time he or she is trying to compete with the peers, outside this country, he or she might not be able to achieve much. That's the truth. That's the truth. So that's no two ways to it. Education is the way to improve your social status. On the average, it might not be totally for everybody, because we still have few people that don't really go to school. Well, you might say they are doing well, but I want to say that if education is added to whatever they are doing, they will do better than what they're actually doing. That is the truth. So, looking forward to seeing you in Male Educational Services. I said Louis was just talking about UK, Canada, and now people are migrating to Australia. You see that in Australia, most of the universities that they are now coming to Nigeria. We are agents to over 15 universities, and they want to see more of in fact, we have so many Nigerians living now in Australia. And when Louis was having his presentation, he said about 100 and something thousand, 119,000, 119 went from Nigeria to the UK. So many people are there. I don't know why everybody is still focusing on UK. The truth is, some are now leaving the UK. At least I know 2 doctors recently that left the UK for Australia. Well, I heard that cost of living is less in Australia compared to UK. That's what I heard. And in Australia now, I think in the UK you have two years post-study visa, isn't it? In Australia now, it's 4 years post-study visa. In fact, if you have, with your master's, you can have 5 years post-study visa. For PhD, 6 years. 6 years. And one good thing about Mel, you know, one of the challenges students really face is getting the right person to process your application. Some will get your application, your admission into those schools. When it gets to the visa stage, nothing happens. You know, you will have to start all over again. Email, we handle from the application, get the school, and we also process the visa. You don't even need to appear in any embassy. We do the visa and everything. So when you come and we look at all your documents, if we know that, you know, you don't have the required qualification, we won't even start at all. We won't even ask you to pay our processing fee. Not at all. You know, that's where integrity comes in. Integrity is our watchword. If we can't help you, then we don't waste your time. So we look forward to seeing you. Australia is the way to go. Everybody's, you know, can't be going to the UK. UK is filled up already. So the universities in Australia are asking you to come, and with Mel, we know that you're in safe hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Australia is asking you to come. All right. Okay, Mr. Joshua.
All right.
Let's review you. Yeah,
sure. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been amazing being on this panel. I think I'll start from my last word before I answer Jennifer's question. So, one thing I always tell people is the fact that the world is now one, and we're all together. So, like I said earlier, education, foreign education is actually your right. So, never listen to anyone that says, you know, that comes from an emotional point, say, oh, why are you trying and all that. But the first thing you need to know is, how is this adding value to me, and how can I use what I'm bringing from this country? Not everyone is running away. We have people going there, you know, and planning to come back to actually come and do something. So you just need to know why exactly is the reason that I'm going there, and what am I going to be doing, so you can map, you know, everything out even before you go. Like everyone has said earlier, in terms of the support system available, it's only when you don't plan, what do I want to do after, you know, after my education. That's where you start, you know, thinking, you know. Sometimes I've seen people do it even with NYSC. 1 month to the end of NYSC, you see people think, oh, so it's just 1 month, what do I want to do next, you know, where you don't have the plan, you know, in place. So just make sure you go for it, you know, purposefully. So, and to your question, Jennifer, I think it's fair to also see Empower as a startup. Empower started in 2014, and that's about 8-9 years, and you know, started with US, you know, Canada now. So it's in terms of, it's a very risky business, you know, not taking collateral, not taking co-signer. And we also, the way we work, we build partnership with the universities, because when you get money from Empower, you know, some of your funds get disbursed, you know, directly to the university, you know, at some point. So we need to understand the market. And I mean, just to answer your question, there's actually UK and some other European country, Australia also in plan, but the way it's going to unfold gradually. So we actually are mastering the 2 countries at the moment in the last 8-9 years. And I mean, I don't have the right to say where, you know, the company is going strategically, but from what I've heard, you know, interacting with some of the directors, they had said in 2014, so 2024, they might be exploring the you know, the UK market. So I mean, for now it's focused on US and Canada, but over time I'm sure there will be expansion into other countries. I hope I answered the questions. Awesome. Yeah. Sorry we're not in there yet.
I'm sure she's excited about that.
All right. Okay.
All right, so I think I will take it from the question. If we are looking at education as a global brand, I think it's time to start looking at you. What do I have to give? The child that doesn't like to read has a value placed on something. So you have to make the child focus on himself or herself. Where do I see myself? Your father achieved this, doesn't mean you will achieve it. So if you make the child focus on himself or herself, then there is a passion from somewhere, and from the passion you learn to drive at what you want. So there you can place your value, and of course wherever your value is, your heart will be there. So it's easier to build. And when we look at education as a country, a lot of people that are doing this, I would say, Prince Louis said something. He said his brother was also a scholar, but he had to look at where he had his strength best. So if you're still focusing on the country, then I think you're focusing on the failure more. Then you're focusing on the strengths, the change you can bring in to the system. So you are here because you placed value on something and you wanted to get it. So it wasn't so hard to come get the knowledge because it's going to impact. So I think when the focus is on you, you can do that. And I would say Vesti is doing that because it is focusing on you as a person, your strength, your passion. I told you of somebody that was considering animal nutrition, whereas his strength and his passion was somewhere else. In fact, a global market. So he had more valuable, he wasn't seeing it. So it's tailored, it gives you what is tailored best for you. Post-onboarding consultations, and you have several countries. The good thing is, even if you don't want to go via education, there are other pathways that would be best for you. I've seen people that will say, I want to go for masters, whereas you can actually build from a postgraduate level. I've always told people, if you're looking for opportunity, the best thing you can think from the start to the finish is Vesti. Like my colleague once said, I've never seen anything like that. It's from the very start, and the end of it is they build a community. You have a community, a global community built for you that you can relate with. So if you're thinking anything, opportunity, migration, I would tell you to think Vesti. Thank you.
Thank you. Think Vesti. Let's clap for her. Let's clap for her. All right. Final was Prince Louis.
Okay. Thank you very much for the amazing responses to all those questions. I will need to respond to that as an educator myself, and I would say that I agree with her that education is, even as Mandela said it, all of us always quote, education is the major weapon, or the only weapon with which we can change the world. But you see Nigeria, this level of delusion that we have, and if we don't address it, we will continue to face the problems that we constantly face. The world is changing at a very rapid state. If you think that people are going to read the way they used to read 10, 50 years ago, and they will be interested in it, we're lying to ourselves. If we think that the same courses that people studied back then is what people will be interested in studying right now, we're deceiving ourselves. I did educational management. I told my supervisor that I was going to do a master's in international and comparative education. At the time, that was what I was going, not knowing that I was still going to split it into 2 different masters. And I said, no, you have to do educational planning or educational administration. And you know, we need to understand, and by the time I started doing it, I understand the influence of culture, and that takes me to the second thing. He was talking about our colonial masters. Our colonial masters gave us higher education. They had a purpose for creating the higher education. They wanted people who could serve as clerks, as admin officers for them. So that's why by the time the Yaba College, the University College London in Ibadan campus was starting, it was started for the purpose of developing clerks, manpower development. Check your university's vision and mission statement till today, manpower development. Whereas the world is looking for people who can create opportunities, who can create businesses, who can create employment opportunities for other people. If we don't address these things, we're still going to be struggling with people who really want to do it. We're trying to, and at the end of the day, we're trying to run after America, run after UK. They're so far ahead. Our country is a creative country. The people who are giving us name out there, the Topia Muslims, the Thames, all of them. Oh, we think that is Buhari that is giving, President Buhari. That's giving giving us the names. But I'm telling you for a fact, if we need to pay attention to these things so that we know what we want to present to our people. There's so much we can say about that, but that's why you're there as a teacher. That's why we're trained to do the things we do, to nurture, to support, and instantly give them that support system to make them believe even when they cannot see it. Okay? So we can still talk teacher to teacher and keep doing our best for a better world. The last thing I wanted to say in that regard is how we have the round pegs in square holes. Many of us know that. People who are making decisions. See, beneath everything we see in the education system, there is policy. There's an intersection between theory, politics, policy, and practice. If there is a dichotomy somewhere, that's where we see the problems that we're having. The final words, I'm supposed to be as, how do I now market? What do I market now? But I work for the University of Sussex, but I am happy to support anyone that wants to study in the UK and provide advice. You're going to get support from Vesti and everything, but if you need advice in terms of how to apply, what regions are fine, how to get jobs when you start working, making the best of your experience, how to apply for scholarships, all of those things are like areas I can really help you with. Majorly for the UK, but I can also support with other things. But what I would say is, believe in yourself, believe in your story, never stop trying, and never stop giving back to the society, because at the end of the day, as a global citizen, you are one piece of the global puzzle. Thank you.
Thank you. Powerful words. Never stop trying. You are one piece of the what? Of the global puzzle. Interesting. Thank you so much. Very quickly, I want to also say that if you want to reach any of our resource persons, you can always reach them through us at Vesti. I will be able to really direct you, give you direct access to these resource persons and partners that we have here at today's session. A wonderful day, wonderful morning session with you all, wonderful audience, very cooperative, exceptional young people, and of course with resource persons, keynote speaker, panelists, and also for thanking you for joining us for this session. As we're also having a session, I could see one of our panelists that also came in, Ms. Ada Korunko. Goodness, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. Please, I want your indulgence to join us in the group picture we want to take now. So we're going to have a group picture now. Everyone, the Deputy Operations Lead at Vesti here right now, and we'll call the session to a close. But before we bring the session to a close, we just have a group picture right here.
Sorry, I forgot that I have a leaflet for Sussex, Nigeria, so I'll drop that. You can pick it on your way out.
Alright. Then this afternoon session, the afternoon session is starting back 1 o'clock anyway from now. So if you still want to wait for the afternoon session, fantastic. Alright, please let's give them a round of applause. You've been quite good to us today. Thank you so much. Okay, with that, I know we have a few questions from online audience. I'm not sure, just one. Okay, please can you the question out?
Okay, question goes thus. These opportunities are only available for Nigerians. I am from Ghana. How can I benefit from Vesti and its partners?
Hey, I think that question, I will answer that question myself. So So again, for wonderful customers, prospective customers in Ghana, the good thing is in Q1 of 2023, Vesti released an update, a correspondence saying that Intel basically that will be expanding to Ghana, to Zambia and Mexico. So you can be assured that Vesti is just a step closer to you right now in Accra, Ghana. I can tell you that for free. Yeah. So please, as soon as we conclude on that, you start seeing us actively involved in Ghana markets. Please, we want you to just stay in touch with us. Follow us across our social media platforms. Turn on notification from our social media pages, and you will get latest updates about our expansion efforts to Ghana, to Zambia and Mexico. With that, we come to the end of today's morning session. I want to really appreciate you today, Prince Louis. Thank you so much for the wonderful insight you shared this session. Quite profound, and I must say it's really beneficial, even to me as a companion of this session. Thank you so much for the time you spent with us, and to all the members of the panel session that we just had, from Empower Financing to Mel, and also to my sister Vesti, and even Top Sets, and even to all our exhibitors. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for making it here this morning. And we'll be moving to the second session of today's program, the afternoon session, by 1 p.m. Any moments from now. This is me saying thank you for coming, and enjoy a wonderful day. My name is Ifeoma Ariya. I'm the communications lead at Vesti. Thank you so much. Please, you can still network and interact with our exhibitors. You can take pictures here,
because we're bigger than these empty seats, right? Okay, so but I want you to try and get as much as you can from this, and try to give your responses when you need to. I have the slides on the screen. I hope that we don't need to pause at any point, but I will also be using my system so I don't have to be looking up the screen all the time. I'm going to start off this keynote by appreciating Vesti for this opportunity and for inviting me here. I really appreciate it, because it's a great privilege to be able to start off the conversation for every other thing that would follow, like the panel session, the fireside chat, and the conversations that we would also have. So I thank you for that opportunity, and also to recognize and appreciate all the other amazing speakers that we have here. My keynote is going to be an introduction, so I'm going to try and present the topic or the theme of this session, of this event, in a way that you can have like a general overview or like a legal eye view of everything. Next slide. And the topic or the theme of this session, of this program, is empowering the global citizen. Can we take it together? No, it has to be louder. It has to be louder. Keep going. Okay, so empowering the global citizen, faster and affordable pathways. And I hope that it's interesting for you. My name is Louis Omolayo Adekola, and some of you probably already know me from social media or something, and you know that there's a prince missing. Apologies, please just put the prince there. So it's Prince Louis Omolayo Adekola, and I am the regional officer for the University of Sussex in West Africa. The University of Sussex is located in Brighton in the United Kingdom, I'm also the founder and CEO of Advantage Africa. And Advantage Africa is an organization that work basically on the advancement of higher education in the continent of Africa. So things from fundraising for universities, alumni relations, partnerships, collaboration, all of those things are what we do at Advantage Africa. And I wanted to mention that because of some parts of this conversation that I will touch base on later. Now I'm going to move on to telling you what give a breakdown of what my presentation will look like. I will start off with an introduction and then give you an insight into the making of a global citizen, and then I will talk about the strategies for empowering the global citizen. I'll talk about international education and its importance, and then tapping into the opportunities for global citizenship. I'll talk about making it count, and then I will conclude. So let's start with this interesting question. Who is a global citizen? Does anybody want to talk? Or do you want me to call you by name? I don't know your name anyway. Does anybody want to say something? Who is a global citizen? You already thought about it. He's still thinking about it. So
hello?
Yeah.
Okay, afternoon everyone. Okay, my name is Olayemi. I can only give an understanding.
It's fine.
For me, I think a global citizen is someone who...
So can we hear him? Olayemi, right?
Yes.
Can we hear him?
Okay, maybe I'll talk louder.
Okay.
So, what I understand by a global citizen is someone who has had an exposure to the global world, that has an education and has lived in one of the most developed countries in the world.
Okay.
And probably has an exposure to how a proper society should work. And many other things like that anyway.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Please give it to the lady at the back in the black top. Okay, let's the lady here with the floral cloth. I think it's floral. Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Yemi. A global citizen, according to my own understanding, a global citizen is a person who is experienced about what is going on around the globe.
Okay, very nice. Thank you both. Apparently the two of you are Yemi. So thank you, the two Yemis, for that perspective. And you're right because it's about, and earlier, when I asked the question earlier, someone said it is, let's define global and then let's define citizen, and understanding that global has to do with something that is outside of your country to like all over the world, international, and then the citizen is like your being in that country or like your existence in that place. And so it means that as a global citizen, you're existing, you are like a representative of, or you belong, let's use that word, you belong to that global scene, like to the international community of some sort. And I think that makes sense. So thank you both for your perspective. And I'm going to give a definition that I got from Oxfam, and it's just for me. I think it's just a perfect definition of what a global citizen is. Next slide. It says a global citizen is someone who is aware of and understands the wider world and their place in it. Okay? You with me? So it's someone who is aware of the wider world, who understands the wider world, and who knows and understands their place in that world. Do you get? And it says they are a citizen of the world, like you both have said. They take an active role in their community and work with others to make our planet more peaceful, sustainable, and fairer. In the course of this presentation, you will see my face a few times, so get used to it. Can you see me in this place, right? Can you see me here? I didn't ask earlier. Can you see me here? Just said the one with the 17. Yeah, but I was still thinner then. Alright, so that's the definition from Oxfam, and I think that's really it embodies what global citizen means. And for some of you, you're just thinking, so why are we talking about global citizen? I'm here for International Education Fair and all that, but it's also very important to know that the steps that you're taking now is preparing you for that global citizenship, which is what we're talking about. And now, what are the things that characterizes a global citizen? The first is intentionality. Intentionality is, so sir, if we can take it one after the other when it's all these ones, yeah. Now, intentionality is very important. It's a very important characteristic of a global citizen. Remember that the definition I gave talked about how it is someone who is aware, all right, and knows their place in it, right? Now, while national citizenship is an accident of birth because you don't decide, you don't choose where you're born or when you're born, right? So, but global citizenship is a voluntary association with a concept that signifies ways of thinking and living within multiple cross-cutting communities. So you have to be intentional. You're going to be deliberate if you're really going to be a global citizen, right? The next one is impact, I think. Yeah. Sorry. Now the next one is impact. It says global citizenship entails a recognition of one's role in making the world a better place and the willingness to act towards it. So global citizenship is very crucial, or impact is very crucial to global citizenship, because it is you recognize that you have a role to play, a role that you can and must play in order to make the world a better place, and not just knowing but actually taking action towards it. The next one is inclusionary, and for this one I would like to, how many of you have been to other countries here? If you've been to another country outside of Nigeria? Yes, Ada, of course. And Agbaje, who else? Okay, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Ada, but I need to ask the two of you, just pick one country and just tell us what you think, what was the greatest shock, culture shock or just reality shock that you experienced in one of the countries that you've been. Who's with the microphone?
Which one do I pick? Maybe the US, I'd say. I mean, I've always heard that it's cold, right? I just never knew how cold. My first thought was, why do people live in a fridge? That was what I said to my uncle. I'm like, why would anybody live in a fridge? It is so cold.
Choose to live.
Yes, literally. Those that go, so you're born here, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Why would you leave your country that looks so great and come and live in a fridge? So I think that was my first shock. And then, of course, when it comes to food as well, just what people eat is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Okay. Those two things. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so we're here from
Okay, to
Rome. Okay.
Yeah. I think it was seeing a lot of people smoke on the streets.
Okay.
And everywhere I'm always perceiving cigarettes, like mixed with, there's cold and there's the smoke from cigarettes. So the combination of the two, I'm like, and the air I'm breathing.
Just let me cope with one first. Let me deal with one at a time.
Yeah, so I think that was the shock.
Yeah.
And then also with the food, like I'm looking for swallow. I'm not seeing swallow. Yeah, so the food was also, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And I had to ask that question because, and again, everybody is experiencing different countries differ, right? For the longest, I used to say that I don't feel cold. All the time I lived in the UK, or like I always am in the UK, I don't have I was saying it earlier that I got my first winter jacket from the Sussex Nigeria Society, but I didn't use it because I don't feel the cold. Maybe it was like also because I was living in Brighton, and it was very, Brighton is very nice when it comes to weather. But I was in the US till last year, so like January last year was terrible. It was the longest time to be in New York. It was freezing. Terrible. To think that a week before I was in Dallas and it was fine. It was perfect. But just to tell you that different people have different realities. Now, you talked about Rome and smoking. Now, the reason why I asked this question is when it comes to being a global citizen and you preparing your mind to travel, you need to understand that some things that you say, I don't like when people smoke around me. I don't like smoking. I don't smoke. You don't have to smoke. Do you understand? You don't have to drink. And that's the interesting thing. You don't have to go to parties. You don't have to go to parties if you don't want to go to. But you can go to party and choose not to smoke and choose not to take any of the things, the ecstasies and stuff. You can go and not drink and not do anything. As long as you pay the entry fee to some of these clubs, you're fine. And you're just going there to have some EDM. EDM is, before you think it's not drug, electronic dance music. That's what they dance to. We dance to piano and Afrobeats here. There is EDM, is the electronic dance music. You don't have to agree with the reality of those places that you're going to, but you have to understand them, accept them, and respect them. You can be at the bus stop waiting for your bus in the UK, and people are just smooshing and kissing and doing all sorts beside you. How many of you will see people at Ojoleba kissing and smooshing? You know, it should be on social media. You understand? And that's even fair. How many of you can be in a church and you are seeing two ladies kissing in the church? Do you understand? These are realities in these countries. It doesn't make them better than us. It doesn't make us better than them. It is the realities that are different, the cultures that are different, and the levels of advancement, of acceptance. So that inclusionary, if you're going to be a global citizen, you must process your mind in a way that you accept that I am not the only one that exists in this world. I'm just one out of many. There are over 7 billion people. A global citizen recognizes, understands, and appreciates the concept of inclusion. They respect and value true diversity. When I was doing my master's, we were a class of 49 students, and we were from 26 different countries. 26 different countries representing in a class that was less than 50. So different people with different perspectives. Okay, so it's just helpful to bear that in mind. The last one, which is very close to what we are talking about today, is informed. A global citizen have a good understanding of how the world works economically, politically, socially, culturally, technologically, and environmentally. They are outraged by social injustice. How many of us were part of the Entersport protest? Whether at the field or on the social media or something, how many of us were involved? That's an example of how people can be outraged by social injustice. We saw leading into the EndSARS was the Black Lives Matter. That one was loud. Even people all over the world were involved. That's an example of how you can be a global citizen. And you can actually be a global citizen even before you leave your country. Education is supposed to help you understand all of these things, and that's why we're looking at this as part of the International Education Fair. So economically, politically, socially, culturally, technologically, and environmentally, those are things that helps you to be able to think as an international person, an international entity, as a global citizen. And I'll try to do like a flashback for us to understand some of these things, like where our education system, I know that the question came in the last session about how education, the roles of education in society and everything. Our education system in this country, for me, to some extent, I'll give some of it pass mark. People used to say that our curriculum is obsolete and stuff. It is obsolete and stuff, but it still prepares people that will go there, go to UK, go to America and all that, and still smash the records, right? So the teaching, the teachers, the curriculum, they're not as bad as we say they are sometimes. International education is the field. The field of international education is a melting point of individuals and learning with a global perspective, which ensures that students are exposed to different cultures, ethnic groups, religion, languages, political economies, for the purpose of enriching societies and broadening of academic experience for everyone. So I have studied international education and development for my master's. I didn't study how to be an international student. I studied the field, which is basically around using education across different sectors, across different communities, to impact in the countries and across the world. Just trying to paint that picture so you have an understanding. Study abroad options. Just quickly, study abroad options. Undergraduate, many of us know that you can decide to go study for your undergraduate program. Postgraduate thought is majorly when undergrad, we know, right, is bachelor's. You know that's bachelor, so you can have a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelors of Engineering, B.Arch for architecture, and all of the B.Pharm for pharmacy, B.Eng for engineering. That's undergrad. Postgraduate thoughts is the postgraduate programs that deals, that is majorly the MAs, is the third one. It also still has element of research. It's not like research is completely out of it, but it's majorly taught. So you have the MAs, the MEDs, the MScs. Those ones are examples of postgraduate thought. Postgraduate research involves the MPhil, the MRes, and the PhDs. Those are the ones that are core research. So you don't exactly have to go to classes, you have your research that you're conducting and all of that. Other options are the IFY. So if you know that if you're coming to do a bachelor's in the UK, the undergrad, you cannot use your O-level, WAEC or NECO or NAPTEP to go straight into year one. You need to do either the A-levels, the IGCSE, the IB diploma, all of those ones before you can enter. In America, for example, you can go through a college. You can start from a college and then proceed from a college into a proper university. But if you have any of these other ones, now example for the UK, what you would need to do if you don't have any of these ones is to do the IFY, which is the International Foundation Year Program, which is like a pre-degree, in Nigeria, right? Top up is if you've done a bachelor's or you've done an HND and you want to do like a master's, but you can't go straight because you have a third class or you have an HND, then you need to do a top up. Some universities has top up. It means that you can present your HND or your third class certificate to get admission into year 3 of the bachelor's. So it's an undergraduate course. So you enter year 3, you complete the year 3 and graduate with another bachelor's certificate. If you're lucky, you can have a first class and it trumps your third class from a Nigerian or another university. Pre-masters are some universities, like my university where I work, University of Sussex, we don't have a top-up, but we do pre-masters. So it's also very similar to so it's not a bachelor's level, it's just between a bachelor's and a master's, right? Then the PGCs are there, postgraduate certificate, postgraduate diplomas. And top destination, if we want to say top destination, please shout at me. Wait. Shout at me. What are the top destinations for studying for if that Nigerian students are going to? 1, 2. Australia 3. United States 4. Germany 5. New Zealand, yes. Okay, go. So we have the UK, we have US, we have Canada, we have Australia, we have Germany, and then we have others. So others now includes the Finlands and everything. And there was a time that Cyprus and Malaysia was a thing. But now people are even going to places like China, Japan, and everything. Of course, New Zealand is a new top destination now. So just to give that that one. Okay, the next one, I'll just let it quickly come and just quickly put everything out. Just requirements that you would need. You can just take a photo of this, and requirements that you would need to study to apply to study abroad. And this is like a blend of either masters or undergrad and everything, because I didn't want to be segmenting it. So you pick the ones that are relevant. O-level certificate for your English language. So many universities, especially in the UK, if you have an A1 to C6 in your English, WAEC, O-level or NECO, it will be sufficient. So you won't need to present IELTS or TOEFL. Some universities will require you to do a GRE, GMAT for like America or so, but in the UK we don't require GMAT and GRE. Undergraduate certificate if you're doing a master's. Transcripts, you will need to present that one. Portfolio if you're coming to do like a course that are very practical, like designs or music or arts, performing arts or fashion, photography, and all of those things. You need to have a portfolio. Reference letters from your academic advisors or former lecturers or former bosses. Consent letters for minors. International passport is very important. In some cases you don't need international passport at the point of application, but you will need it to accept your offer, and it just really differs from institution and country to country. Personal statement is that statement that you write to detail who you are, where you're coming from, what you're passionate about, and why the course is important. In some countries like America and Canada, it's called a statement of purpose, and you will need your curriculum vitae, your CV as well. Again, just quickly through this one. It's very easy, very simple. You know about scholarships. Everybody knows about scholarships already, right? Okay, so I'll just quickly rush through this one. Scholarships briefly. Next slide. So there are different types of scholarships that you need to be aware of. The first is there are full and partial scholarships. Some scholarships you can get that is full. It sponsors your entire education, from tuition to living expenses and everything. You get stipend to actually study. Okay, examples of these ones are the Chevening, the Commonwealth, the Erasmus Mundus, the Mastercard scholarships, the Fulbright scholarships. Those are examples of full funded scholarships. Partial scholarships are those ones that are not full. Sometimes partial scholarships can actually cover your entire tuition but won't cover your flight ticket. To some people that's full, but to someone like me who had gotten a full, that's not full. Okay, so full partial scholarships are like partial ones, like 55. Sometimes you get 50% of your tuition off, £5,000, $10,000. Those are examples of partial scholarships. There are internal scholarships and external. And there, like I said earlier, there are intersections in all of these different categories. So external scholarships are those that you get. Internal are the ones that are like within the university. Okay, the university is offering you £3,000 or offering you £2,000 or $5,000 or $10,000. Or in America, sometimes you can get a lot more, from the universities, especially if you're like doing assistantship and all of those things. So these are internal opportunities. External opportunities, examples are the ones I mentioned earlier, and maybe government scholarships, the World Bank, the IMF, the African Union. Those are examples of external scholarships.
Empower.
No, I'm asking a question about a scholarship for University of Oxford, essentially. So like I said, what is the name of the prestigious scholarship program that allows students from around the world to pursue current studies at the University of Oxford? Okay, please. In there. But before you give him, please give this lady putting on a cap. I want the lady to actually, I don't want the ladies. No. Give it to her. Just attempt. Give it an attempt.
Excellent scholarship.
No. Okay. Alright, over to you. And if you miss this question, young man. But I love the enthusiasm. Okay.
I think it's Fulbright.
Fulbright. No. No. Okay. Well, yeah, okay. Chevening, no. Alright, let me not waste our time. Is the Rhodes Scholarship. RHODES. How many of us have heard of that scholarship before? Alright, okay, without wasting much of our time, we'll be going straight to the panel session for today. I could see our resource persons already gearing up for the session this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we are moving on to the panel session. We have the privilege of hosting a panel of exceptional individuals who have dedicated their careers to empowering individuals across the globe through education. Essentially, our panelists represent a diverse range of backgrounds, experiences and perspectives, all of which are vital in understanding the challenges and opportunities facing education today. With their collective expertise, they will provide insights into the key issues and innovative solutions that are driving education forward in the 21st century. Our panelists have all played instrumental roles in shaping the landscape of education in their respective fields. They bring a wealth of knowledge and expertise to our discussion today, and I have no doubt that their insights will inspire and inform us all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a warm welcome to our esteemed panelists. Our first speaker on the panel is Mr. Joshua Adedeji. He's a development professional with more than 3 years of active engagements across African markets. Mr. Joshua Adedeji plays a vital role in global development landscape. As an education enthusiast, he currently serves on the Nigerian advisory of Crystal Lens Career Builders and also partnered Empower Financing as an ambassador, helping to unlock education financing in Africa. Please, let's give him a round of applause again. Our second speaker on the panel is Ms. Goodness Ada Armstrong, Startup HR. She's a management consultant with a focus on people and culture, specializing in talent solutions and workplace cultural conversations for African organizations. Currently, she advises a portfolio of African startups valued at over $20 million on talents and cultural solutions through Startup HR Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, additionally, she is building Nigeria's largest career accelerator platforms for the African job market through career spaces. In 2020, she was named one of Africa's top 50 HR voices or influencers by the Workport magazine. Yeah, you can do better. It's a first-class bachelor's degree in international relations from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, a master's in human resources from Brunei Business School, and an alumnus of the Lagos Business School, and a fellow on the Peace Peak Accelerator in Washington, D.C. She has 7 years of experience spanning across Fortune 500 companies like Microsoft and multinationals like the Great Place to Work. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's give a round of applause. Joining us for this panel session again this afternoon is Mrs. Modupe Oladimide. She's the operations manager, Mayor Educational Services Limited. She is a chartered accountant with an MBA and 23 years of experience in banking. Currently, she is enrolled in a professional course in early childhood education at University of Lagos. Recently, she joined Mayor as the operations manager for Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor is an educational consultant with a strong focus on integrity, The agency is led by Olufolakemi Adeniyi, an Australian citizen, Justice of Peace, and trained educator with more than 15 years of experience in teaching, staff training, and extracurricular activities for schools. As an international agent for over 15 universities, they provide a unique approach to educational consulting. Once again, please let's give her a round of applause. Joining us for this panel session this afternoon is also one of our colleagues here at Vesti, Miss Olubumi Opadoyi. She'll be joining us as soon as she steps into the hall, and I'll be moderating this session. Okay, there was this young man that answered my question the other time, or attempted. Yeah, please let's give me this scarf again. Oh yeah, you too. Okay. That's correct. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. You all have been a wonderful audience. Okay. All right. Good afternoon once again. So we're back to the panel session, and I'll be asking some questions from our panelists, and I'm sure they are going to do justice to the questions we have today. We had an interesting session in the morning with the panelists that. So I'll be asking the first question from Mr. Joshua, like I also did earlier. Basically, we observe that many of us here, and even people watching us from across the globe online, they desire to travel abroad. They want to school abroad, but they are faced with some bottlenecks. They are encountering challenges. What these challenges are international students face? I'll answer the two questions right now. These challenges that international students face in their pursuit of postgraduate studies across the destination countries, and what are the innovative solutions that have been put together to address these specific challenges of international students?
All right. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, so we had a very interesting session in the morning, and you're welcome to the afternoon session. Like you said, my name is Joshua. I represent Empower as an ambassador. My day job is with the UK government as the knowledge transfer manager for the Innovate UK in Nigeria. Sorry if you can't hear me quite well. I have been feeling sick since yesterday, but I just have to be here today. So back to the question in terms of the challenges, like we said in the morning. The challenges people face, going to study, it could be universal, something that apply to everyone, and there are some that are actually peculiar to individuals or to specific countries. So I mean, there are some specific challenges, like you talk about your universities when it comes to the bottleneck of getting your transcript, some family challenges, it's if I should ask 100 of person, it will be different challenges. But one challenge that actually seems to be kind of universal, for everyone, if I should ask you what that is, would be access to finance, which everyone think the same way. How do I fund my education? How do I do this? How do I do that? I don't want to go for this loan because of the way it is. I don't have anybody to sign for me. I don't have collaterals. I don't have a house or a car or something to put in. So it's actually that big challenge. And like I told you, you have the right, everyone has the right to actually travel, because migrating or perhaps going to study, it's a global right for everyone. So no one can stop you. You can live anywhere you want in the world, but there's nothing that should stop you. Like I always tell people, money should not be the reason why something that is important not be done. So if it is important to you to actually go study abroad, why should money be the reason that you're not going? I mean, there are other reasons. It could be maybe there's war in the country that you want to go to, which some people, there could be economic crisis or other people. But if it's not, there are actually effective ways or solutions that are available out there. And going to the second question now, in terms of some innovative solutions. So out there actually has been some solutions to actually help you surmount these challenges. As Nigerian, when you hear about loan, when you talk about loan, the first thing you do is sometimes you run away, because when it comes to some of these the loan companies, it's, yeah, exactly. You think about, oh, in our culture we don't like to be disgraced. I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want anyone to post my picture. So that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about innovation and actually financing your education, and that's where company like Empower comes in, where we look at your need and of course your skills and how applicable it is to the country you are going to. So Empower doesn't take collaterals for your loan, and they don't take any co-signer. Most of the loans you see, they'll ask you for someone based in the US or somewhere to actually sign for you. We don't take anything of such because we know it's actually going to be difficult for even people who don't have family, perhaps in the US. So the question would be, what do we look out for? The only thing we look for, not your past, but it's your future early potentials. How the algorithm is being built to see, are you going to be able to pay back the loan? And it's a very risky one, but we take the bet on people to say, the country you're going to US, you're going to Canada, would you have the potential or the opportunity to pay back your loan even after your school? How do we determine this? By the kind of program you're going for. So for example, you're going to, you want to see what skill is going to be very useful to their own economy, because that's how you can get job. So if you're talking STEM courses, you're talking medical and health courses. There are some other courses. I'm not here to mention specific course, because there are some, because even the one I did for my for my undergrad, so I wouldn't go to the US or somewhere to study that. So how valuable is your skill going to be to the country you're going to? And the other thing is you preparing and looking at the course I'm actually going for. What am I going to earn? Money should not be the first thing that you think about anyways, but we actually look at that to say, are you going to get job? Are you going to have enough money to actually start paying back, even though you have 10 years to pay back the loan? So one thing we are saying here is there are solutions out there that you can access that are not actually really difficult like it used to be, because things keep are improving over the days. And perhaps when we get into some other questions, I can tell you details of how Empower actually run the loan. But what I'm saying is there's actually solution out there to finance your education. And the second thing that is linked to what I've said first is actually access to information. Is also a big challenge for everyone, but it's also solved with your devices, your phone, your laptop. You can access any information anywhere without even having to come to company like ours or any of the people seated here. You can know what is obtainable, what are the interest rate, or what is the information you need to know about the school you're going for, about the countries you're going to. So those are two biggest challenges, and I think we are in the right place to actually solve it. When I say we, not we as a company, but you as a person, you have the right, you have the resource to actually go all out, look at for the right information, and of course reach the right company that can provide the right resource you need for your education. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a big one. Thank you so much. I want to come to Ms. Goodness Ada, and the question I want to be asking her is, I think it's a bit tilted to what our keynote speaker also mentioned earlier, and it's bordered on global citizenship. And the question is this: why is a global perspective important for students? Why should students start thinking global? Why should you think about being a global citizen, and how can it even benefit you even in the long term? Yeah.
Thank you for the question. I'm happy that I was here when he did his own presentation, so I could borrow a thing or two from what he said. First of all, the world is becoming what's small. Someone said the world is one. Because it's so small, right? Google has made everything accessible to everyone anywhere. Jobs today, you're not competing against someone that went to your school. You're competing with your fellows abroad. The same job you're applying for today, someone in the UK is applying for that job. Why am I going to choose you over somebody else who has studied abroad and prospectively has better opportunities, or stand a better chance, just because of where they've studied and where they've gone to school? Whether you like it or not, Nigeria is still a country very moved by the things they see or the things you have when you went to school. Are those things important? Yes. So if you're in a global economy, you must be globally minded. I think that's just as simple as it is. You know where the world is going. You know, you're going to school to open your mind. You're not going to school to study one course and come out and do that thing. If you still think that way, then you need to start to change how you're thinking. You're going to school to, you know, bring a community of people who are maybe joining to similar destination but different routes. So understanding what's going on, you know, across the world with your peers in the UK, in the US, in Australia, what's the world of work today. I think that's one of the biggest challenges today. You know, opportunities are everywhere, but information is not democratized. The people think Lagos is Nigeria, Abuja is Nigeria. The people fly into the eastern part of Nigeria who do not know there is anything called Vesti, who do not know there are opportunities in Australia, who are looking for the next opportunity to even go to school, right? So if you have the opportunity to be where you are today, think about what's going on in the world in terms of opportunities. You know, what is the world market saying? What are the key skills today that our companies are looking out for? If you're not knowing those things, you're changing yourself. So if you must work globally, then you must certainly learn how to think globally. So I think that's the most important reason why students should take this seriously. Global citizenship, like you said, and I think that's one of the things I took out from this session. Your national citizenship is not your choice. You were born a Nigerian. You don't have a choice. But global citizenship is intentional. It's a choice you make. It's steps of you take action steps to become a global citizen, both from the way you think to where you decide to settle down. The Bible said that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Why do you want to live and die in one place? Explore the world. Yeah.
Explore the world. Interesting. Please, let's give her a round of applause. I think the challenge is for us all, like, we need to pick up that challenge. You don't need to limit yourself. Like, there's a lot you can do. There's a lot that the world is looking for people like you and I to really make a lot of impact in your fields, in different fields that we may find ourselves in, different spheres of influence. You must be able to make a positive impact and be able to carve a niche for yourself, and then you just find yourself forging ahead in the right direction. And that is the part of global citizenship, and not just being a local champion here in Nigeria. Yeah, you need to really think global. So we need to
I mean, living in Nigeria, you know, doesn't mean that you're not a global citizen.
Sure.
That's what something also important. He mentioned it's in the way that you're thinking.
Mindset.
So even if you're not Nigerian, but all your content is not for Nigerians, the Nigerians abroad, the Nigerians in Canada, the Nigerians in the UK. If you're building products, you're not building products for just put in Nigeria. You're building products for global markets. That's why we have how do you want to pay naira, dollar, pounds. You understand? So even if you're in Nigeria, think globally, build products for the global markets. You know, provide solutions for the global markets, wherever they are. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much. You can still serve the world even from Nigeria, and that is also part of global citizenship. Thank you so much. That's quite profound. Still with you, Ms. Gomez, and I want to ask, we have a lot of international students abroad in different fields doing exceptionally well. But then we realize that there is actually a need to build a community of such individuals, international students, and basically integrate them, even with the cultural diversity, you know, that they have found themselves. They're meeting people from different climes, from different races, different countries, different regions, different people with different tongues, speaking different languages, and they need to really they need to be in a focus group discussion with them to get an assignment done, to get tasks done. You know, how can we build, you know, a supportive community of international students, and what role can mentorship and cultural integration play in such situations?
So let's understand the question. You want to build communities for Nigerians abroad?
Yes, for Nigerians studying abroad. Okay. Yeah, how can such communities be fostered, basically?
I mean, I think there's no one way to kill a bird, right? There are many ways that you can do this, but I know that one of the things that some schools do is that they have alumni networks in Nigeria, in Africa, wherever, Brunel University, where I studied in London, we have an alumni network in Nigeria. And then you have access as well to Nigerian students. So again, it's easy to look at things from a very broad perspective where you do not have a lot of control. So I don't sorry, I don't have a lot of control as to what Brunel University does, right? I can suggest that we have alumni networks if they don't exist for some schools. I can suggest that, organizations like Vesti start to put things like that together, or career spaces where I'm working in, we can start to work on things like that for students. But I'll just take it from an individual perspective, because I like to think that everybody, can contribute in some way to a problem, right? I studied in the UK. I always see myself as a foreigner to other people who want to go. I'm open for you to ask me questions. So one of the things I did last year, I used to be a Chevening Scholar assessor in Nigeria and in Ghana. So I did mark Chevening scholarship applications for Nigerians. And after that application, I was so bothered. First of all, 8% of the applications came from Lagos and Abuja. Nobody from the south. It's just very little. So it was so bad. I was like, these guys are missing on so much opportunities, and it's not fair. So one of the things I did the next year was to do a training for people who wanted to apply for the scholarship. Or those that even applied, their essays were where can I start? So I took it upon myself to do a training for people who wanted to apply for Chevening the next year. So that's you taking it upon yourself to make a change in your own little way, right? And I see people who come in my DMs, the Nigerians, they would come to Brunel University, they see on your LinkedIn page that you also went there, and they're asking questions. It's not the time to be claiming big woman, it's the time to support. I have any questions, ask me, I'm happy to assist. Oh, this is what you can do as a student in Brunel, this is where you can go, these are things that I did, these are things that I did. So for me, that's my own way of helping build this community. But can we do it in a more systemic way where, we can then reach out to more students? Of course we can do that, come together as a team, people who have schooled abroad. I think alumni networks, no matter how it's done, it doesn't have to be by the school. It can be democratic alumni networks coming together to help. The problem, I think the major problem is we Nigerians don't like ourselves enough to do that. Do you get, Asians will do that for themselves. I see a lot of them, they're together in schools. Even in school in the UK, Nigerians don't know Nigerians. Do you understand? So we have to start to change our mindset as to how we think about when we go abroad, we are our brother's keepers, right? I know a couple of people going there with a mindset to, I want to stay back, so I just want to do a few things, and that's good. But I think we should have a community mindset where even after when you're in school, look at your fellow Nigerian as someone that you can help, you guys can support each other. I think it just starts from there. The mindset that we're here to support each other, and if you see an opportunity, tell a fellow Nigerian. If you don't see an opportunity, you go and apply, and only you. Sometimes you still not get it. So what are you holding information for? If Vesti was holding information, we will all be here. Do you understand? So there is no need to live in silos. So as you travel abroad, and that's what Indians do as well, or some of these people we see around in Nigeria, right? When you come in, they bring the people. Right? So I think that mindset of supporting each other is key to even building that kind of community from the word go. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Mindset of supporting each other. When you were saying this, I flashed back, I think sometimes last year, around September, I think that's when we have a lot of people travel to the UK to study and resume. And there was this trend, in fact, they were dragging a lot of Nigerians that just moved into the UK at that time, because they just go to the UK and you see them, they have started tweeting and giving threats of things you need to do, and some people are calling them out like, you've not even spent 1 week in UK, you're already giving tips on.
So you to appreciate it.
You can imagine, Nigerians were calling them out like, are you the first person to go to UK, and you are now an authority giving threats, tweeting on. One of these, as Nigerians, we need to be open-minded, and when we see someone supporting and trying to foster a community, we should lend support, encourage. Information is very key. Someone mentioned it earlier. Information is very key, and
you never can tell how that information will be very, very instrumental to the progress and development of another person that may come across it. Thank you so much. That was very, very instructive for us to take away from. I want to come to Mrs. Modupeola Dimeji. The question I will be asking is on education essentially. How does education contribute to economic growth, and how can we measure its impact?
Thank you. I'm Modupeola Dimeji, representing Men Educational Services. As I said earlier, education is very, very important, because it will not just affect your career, it will affect your total life. Education will affect where you live, it will determine where you live, it will determine what you eat. Might sound funny, but that's the truth, you know. And it will, also affect the relationship you have, determine the type of people you move with. It will determine the places you go to, might even determine the car you ride. So by the time you look at all these things, it affects, the economy. You want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to come to a place like this, to organize a program like this. It's all about education. And she said something that I also want to add to. She said, gone are the days you go to universities and just study one course. Capitalize on every opportunity you have. As you're studying that course, I gave an example in the morning of somebody learning Mandarin because she saw that it was free, in a university to learn that, and that really helped her. Now she can speak. You can imagine if there's a job opportunity for her in a place owned, by Chinese government or whatever. Of course, she will have an edge above the same, two people that went to the university to study law, but because she has an, added qualification, she will have an edge. I also know of a guy that studied economics, and after school, he started learning coding. Started learning coding. In fact, when the first job he got, they told him there that they didn't really need him. Are you getting it? But he insisted that they should just offer him something. Okay, at the end of the day, they gave him a part-time job. And luckily for him, somebody went on vacation. And he had to relieve that person. And they now discovered that the reports that the main staff, it was taking the main staff about a week or so to get the report out. He was just doing it in few hours. Why? Because he was able to write little programs to get data from all their branches. So that's power of education. Of course, he went to university to study economics, but added some other things to it. And as you said, it affects the economy, it affects the GDP of the country. The more, look at Nigeria for example, so many people going out. I tell you, if you ask CBN, that's why you have the money transfer, money coming into the country. I'm sure maybe at the end of the day might even be more than what the country is generating from crude oil. I don't know, because hardly will you find a family in Nigeria today where they don't 1, 2, 3 people and that's done in Australia or US or whatever, and they're all sending in funds, sending money. Some have collected loans, paying back, some taking care of their siblings. It's affecting, the multiplier effect. You can't just explain it, so it's mind-blowing. It's affecting so many people. We've seen only one person in the family going abroad, now sending money to train the junior ones here, and they, working towards getting them over there as well. So all these things are affecting the economy, affecting the GDP of the country. And I know at the end of the day, it's, the good of all, not only Nigerians, but globally.
Please, let's give her a round of applause. Okay, just as she was speaking, our colleague here, Miss Ibomi Opadoyin walked in, and she will be answering the next question, which
really borders on migration, which I know many of us are really quite interested in. And I'm coming from the perspective of the fact that before now, migration has always been seen from a very traditional point of view, like the approach in which migration is being treated, or how prospects access migration pathways is through a crude means, basically. But then this is Vesti now positioning and being the preferred provider of such services, leveraging technology. So I want to ask the question: how is that process? How is that process coming up? How can technology streamline the migration process for students? And what are the promising migration fintech solutions? What are those solutions that Vesti has been able to come up with to really make migration pathways accessible and seamless for people to?
Alright, thank you very much. My apologies for being late. Thanks to technology, it has brought migration closer to you than you think. Before, you would know that, okay, it's at the point of visa, you know you're going to travel. Or when you start seeking admission, when someone tells you you've been admitted to, sometimes it might not even be your will, but introduction of Gmail, you have your own account, you can process applications now, you can start applying. But with technology coming, it's like it has brought you closer to these schools or to these countries you actually want to go to. But then I want to ask you, what information are you gathering? Is it for you or for the public? That's where you have Vesti having a hand-holding service with the creation of pathways, where you know the one that is for you. If I, as a postgraduate student, I know that, okay, as much as I can go for masters, this next step is what seems best for me. The best recommendations, the consultation services. That's where Vesti comes in. It has brought it has made the processes a lot more seamless and closer to you. That's what Vesti and technology has done.
Thank you so much, Mr. Obomi. I want to, on a final note now, before I take a few questions, I know some of us will have questions to ask resources here. Recently, Vesti had a partnership with Empower Financing, basically to provide a student loan for students that want to travel abroad to study, basically to pay for their tuition and the likes. Could you please shed more light on the student loan financing that Vesti is providing for young people right now through the Empower partnership?
All right. Excuse me. Yeah, thanks so much for that. And permit me to touch on what she spoke about earlier, even people going there and getting the right support. I think it's both ways, for people, for school and the community actually getting ready for you. And the same time you mentioned about people actually complaining about people just got there and sharing information. I think there's also the pandemic of people who got there without preparing. So people just go with the mindset of, I need to get out of the country, I need to go to school, and you don't know what it takes. I mean, in Nigeria we have a very good culture, where you talk to your family, you can go to somebody's house, like, I don't want to use the word, sometimes we're unproductive with our time, so someone can actually stay home for you. Oh, my friend is around, I'll stay at home for 2-3 days, I won't go out to work. But when you get to a community where you earn per hour, people don't stay at home for you. So people having to sleep in the library, in church. There was one of my friend that someone went, he only said he's coming, and by the time he got there with his family, he was like, you didn't tell me you were coming with your family. So he also had a room to myself. How do you want to, so you have your role to play to actually have those information. Where am I going to? Where is the airport? And there are books online, that you can see where is the airport, what do I do from the airport, which rail do I want to take, all this information you have them, and be ready that you can get lost for some time, and at a point you get integrated into the system. So I just don't want to put it on, even the school itself, or other people who are putting out information, but what we also need to do, because that's one of the things we encourage students, working with our partners to make sure you have a clarity about everything that you're actually going to be doing. So speaking to the partnership of Empower with Vesti, one thing we try to do is to ensure that students who are going to school or those who are talking to our partners actually have the right finance. And given that we're also a startup, we don't have so many staff and in terms of the bandwidth, which is why you go through the partners to get everything done. And one thing we do basically, like I said earlier, in terms of the innovation that comes, we know that some of you have some money that you want to put to school. You have money maybe from family, from parents, which is what makes it you need to be able to blend various finance together. You have some money, you talk to your parents who can give you, and then you take loan. And like I said earlier, when you talk about loan, people run away, but getting a loan through Empower is not only helping the company, you are also helping yourself, because most of the community or the society, a lot of people are moving to their credit societies where you need to build your credit worthiness. So if you're doing that, the fact that you're taking a loan also prepares you, for the future, especially because those that intend to actually eventually integrate themselves into the system. Of course, not everyone is going to stay back, some will come back. So what we do basically, you have several processes you have to go through, and the first thing that you need to get yourself enrolled in the school. When you get yourself enrolled, you need to look at which of the schools are we actually supporting, and for now we only focus on US and Canada. And of course, like, this is a loan that comes without collateral, it comes without cosigner, and like I said earlier, we only go by your future and the potential. And for you to now get selected or given a loan, you need to actually map that route. You need to engage the school. You need to know, how much do I need, how many years is my program. One thing is, we don't do more than 2 years of program. We only do from 1 year, a maximum of 2 years program. So for example, if you're going for a PhD program, you need to be enrolled, and you've done, like, if it's 4 years, you've done initial 2 years, and with the other 2 years. If you're studying maybe for your undergraduate in Nigeria already, perhaps you want to transfer to US or Canada for the final 2 years, because we can't fund the initial 2 years and keep waiting forever for you to pay. We need to recycle the fund. And of course, you have that opportunity to pay your principal over a period of 10 years, which is a good one for you to actually take advantage of. So in terms of the partnership, I think the best thing that I've said is for you to reach out to the partners who are actually working with you, give them the opportunity to work with you through the process. I was having an engagement earlier with one of the Vesti staff, talking about some of the challenges people face, and I tell people, you don't need to overly brand yourself when you are filling the application. I think that's one thing people face. When you are putting in the application, there are a lot of things that still come after then to show, how much do you have? I said, yeah, I have a sponsor. All those things eventually will ask, can you send us your sponsors letter? And they said, I don't have one. You just mention I have 10,000 USD in my account. I ask, okay, send us the proof of the account. Or you don't have a house, tell us, you have this, you have that. So we just need it to be transparent. We have some people who don't have anything, and they still get this, especially when you are transparent. Because when we start saying those little things, it actually gives a concern in terms of, this actually a risk for us. And I started by saying, this, number one, it's a risky venture. We don't take any collateral. We can't even owe the partner, because if we default, we can't owe Vesti, because Vesti is not going to be involved in terms of paying back. This is now your relationship with Empower to do that. So we want to make sure everything is right. So you just put in with all the right information you have, and of course leave the rest to to Empower to handle. So I know a couple of things might come up later in terms of why do we focus on here, why are we not moving to other countries yet. So I think we can tackle all that later, but one thing I'm just mentioning to you, don't be restricted in terms of what you can do and what you can achieve, and don't see this only that you are making another company rich. Just see it as the fact that you are also building your own credit worthiness, which we need. Couple of countries you can't go and put down 200,000-300,000 USD to pay for a house or pay for something. You have to. That's why people use their credit card and all that. You must have that credit worthiness so that you can access some of the benefits in the society. So make sure you do that. And also, if you have some loan already in the country that is going bad, because we work with several other companies that verify those information, we don't want to take liability of some of the loans that you have already. And the final thing I would also like to mention is, for those who are there, even if you're not going with Empower loan and you're already there, you will not get stuck. But perhaps at a point you realize that you need money and you can't continue to pay, you can actually still reach out to Empower. We can actually fund some of your expenses, not more than 120 days. That's about 3-4 months that you incur. We can actually pay that, and this cover both school fees and your living expense that you can all together for Empower. But the final note, we can't fund beyond 100k, so it has to be between 2,000 USD and 100,000 USD. So if you're going for 2 years program, it means you can only access a maximum of 50,000 USD for 1 year. So